Welcome back to the Play Action Podcast. And today we have a big topic because obviously next Monday is going to be the national championship game between Michigan and Washington. We were spoiled with some great playoff games, finally. And do you think that has to do with the committee's decision of excluding Florida State and putting in Alabama, which was a very controversial topic at the time?
Yeah, I think it still is, controversial a little bit. I mean, this is my thing with the playoff. If we're looking for the best four teams, we didn't get the best four teams.
Exactly.
Because we all saw what Georgia did to Florida State. And people can say, oh, they're missing 30 starters, whatever. I don't
30 starters.
I don't care. They put up 63 on them boys.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't care how many starters they're missing. Like, you can't watch that game and tell me that Georgia isn't one of the best four teams in the country.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. So it's, going back to what the committee said, if they're trying to get the best four teams in the country, I don't think they got the best four teams in the country. So then it's like, all right, well, if they didn't get the best four, then they at least get the four most deserving.
Exactly.
Well, they didn't get the four most deserving either.
Yeah.
Florida State was most deserving, but.
So it was inconsistent is what you're saying.
I'm just saying, I'm glad that the 12-team playoff is coming and hopefully we'll answer a lot of these questions.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be debates with the 12-team playoff, but at least we'll have 12 teams that should get in because all the conference champions will get in. And hopefully the at-larges will be deserving as well and the best. So
yeah, initially when the new model came out and I was kind of looking at, what teams are going to be making it and they had the auto bids. And I was like, oh, this is nice because it's going to be less political. But that's really not the case because there's going to be 6 at-large bids. And I don't know what they're going to do about the Pac-12 as well. Are they still going to get an auto bid? So that could free up another space for, another at-large bid as well. Mm-hmm. So it's still going to be political, and especially with those first round buys as well, because it's going to be the top 4 conference champions. But if the Pac-12 is excluded, then I'm assuming they're just going to take one from the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC. Do you think that would be the case?
Yeah, I can't remember I think they did exclude the Pac-12 from the playoff. I can't remember though.
They did. Okay.
We'd have to look into that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why we're rambling off about the 12-team playoff. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about it during the offseason, but big matchup on Monday, Washington and Michigan. And we're talking before we started recording, and Brock said it's going to be best against best. And we think of Washington, we think of Michael Penix Jr., and obviously the trio of wide receivers who have been, unbelievable all year, unstoppable. And when you think of Michigan, you think of that secondary and, Blake Corum and that defense as well. So, best against best. Super excited for the matchup, especially after, how things panned out in the playoff semifinals.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, when you think of the Washington-Texas game, you think of, Washington's wide receivers are a mismatch against most teams, but they're especially a mismatch against that Texas secondary, in my opinion. So it was kind of best against, a weakness. And then on the other side of the ball, it was, Texas's offensive line kind of versus that defense line, which was also kind of, best versus weak. Now you got the national championship game where it's, it's going to be Washington's wide receivers versus, Michigan's secondary. And that's probably best versus best.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan's D-line is great as well. Don't get me wrong. But I think their secondary is probably the better unit out of the two if I had to put my thumb on that. So that's going to be interesting to watch to see, who gets the better of the two. Is it going to be the Washington receivers? Or is it going to be, those Michigan defensive backs?
Absolutely. And you mentioned a statistic before we started recording. Washington has won how many straight football games?
So they've won 21 straight football games.
21 straight football games in a row.
Their last loss is to, I want to say it's Arizona State.
Really?
Funnily enough,
Yeah, funny enough. I
think ASU is the last one to get them.
It's been a while, and your football team's good when it's like we were sitting up here scratching our head trying to find out who's the last team they lost to.
Yeah, I think it's ASU because they beat Oregon last year. I think it's ASU.
Yeah. Wow.
We have to look into that. But
yeah, they're legit.
I think it is it. Yeah, because they lost to UCLA. then they ended up losing to ASU.
Oh, wow.
So Arizona State is the last team.
Yeah, they took that personal
Huskies.
against ASU, and they have been rolling ever since, and they're rolling into Monday and looking to take home a national championship trophy. I want to talk about Michael Penix Jr. because,
Unreal.
watching him against Texas was unreal. First of all, I saw a clip from ESPN College Football. It was their Instagram or something, and they had mirror flipped his throw. So it was showing that he was throwing right-handed.
Okay.
And it just completely changes your perspective on how it looks. Because, we're used to seeing mostly right-handed quarterbacks in, the pro league and as well as college. But he is holding the ball. He only brings the ball like down to here. And then he slings it out there and drops it in the basket every single time. It's mesmerizing. And I can't believe I didn't really notice that until they flipped it. But, just the way he throws the football is super unique and obviously effective. We've seen it all year, and we expect to see it on Monday as well.
Yeah, Michael Penix is he's probably one of the toughest quarterbacks for me to really grade out, because there's times he misses so many throws that I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I was like, I've seen him make that throw a million times.
Yeah.
And then there's times where there was a throw, I think it was in the third quarter, when he literally laced a ball right in between the safety in the corner for a touchdown. And I watched that throw probably 3 or 4 more times, and I was like, he absolutely rocketed that ball.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, it's almost like Aaron Rodgers like with how he can fit balls into windows sometimes. So he's such a fantastic player, and it's weird that he's finally getting his props.
Yeah.
It's like when the Heisman was up for grabs, it was always Bo Nix, or it was always Jaden Daniels, or even at the start of the season, it was Caleb Williams. It was never Michael Penix.
Everyone was sleeping on him.
Never Michael Penix. And I think in one of our rankings, we had Michael Penix as our Heisman winner.
Yeah.
Because we posted, weekly updates. But yeah, it was never Michael Penix. It was always, everybody else. So it's weird that he's finally getting his flowers now that he can't win the award.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so he's definitely going to get his chance to prove the haters wrong Monday. But from the Michigan side, let's talk about JJ McCarthy, Blake Corum. What are we seeing? Or should we jump into predictions? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I want to talk about Michigan a little bit. I think this is John Harbaugh's last college football game.
I saw that take by Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah.
He was saying that it was pretty much almost guaranteed, I believe. Something along those lines.
Guaranteed's a little bit tough. I do think that there's a high possibility that it is.
Yeah.
He signed an agent, over the last couple of weeks. Usually you sign an agent because you're going into, contract.
Yeah, looking to make some moves.
Looking to make some moves for sure. And, that could be as simple as he's looking to re-up his Michigan contract.
Yeah.
Stay for a couple of years. But it's the agent that he signed has a lot of NFL connections. He's connected with a lot of NFL players. He's their agent, which just made me think. I was like, if the confetti comes down and Michigan wins the national championship, in my opinion, I think he's done. I think
done
he's
with
done
coaching.
Michigan.
With Michigan out of
with Michigan. Yeah, I think
with
he's
Michigan.
going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Because it's like you've achieved everything you can at Michigan. You beat Ohio State 3 times.
Yeah.
3 Big Ten championships. You've won a playoff game finally.
Yeah.
And then if you win a national championship, it's like,
it's just what else is there to kind
what
of,
else you going to do?
Yeah.
The interesting one for me becomes JJ McCarthy if he decides to then follow him potentially to the NFL.
Interesting.
That'd be the interesting one for me. But this Michigan team, it's weird because it's not a Michigan team of the last couple of years. And the last couple of years, they've been great.
Yeah.
But it's like this team's so dominant.
Yeah, they are.
It's like, I think when we think back to number one teams throughout the season, nobody's dominated quite like Michigan has dominated. Yes, they've played a weaker schedule. I get that.
You don't think Georgia has these past few years?
Georgia, the past few years they definitely have, but definitely not this year. Like there's.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking strictly this year.
Oh, strictly this year. Yeah,
strictly this year. Like this Michigan team has dominated, almost every single game. I think the only game they really haven't was the Maryland game, but it was after Penn State and before Ohio State.
So yeah, they're kind of like coming off a rough week, maybe looking ahead. Still won though. Perfect season. So, great team, great matchup. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously the run game big over to Michigan with Blake Corum. He was a Heisman finalist last year, I believe. And I'm assuming this will be his departure year as well.
Yep. NFL bound.
So, a couple potential last games for key players in this matchup. But who do you got winning the national championship, Brock?
Yeah, this is tough. I went 1-for-1 on our semifinal predictions. I picked Alabama to beat Michigan, and then I picked Washington to beat Texas. And this is a tough game for me. It's hard to doubt Kalen DeBoer, and I've done it many times, but he's won everywhere he's gone.
It's true.
I think his worst season is he had a 3-loss season once.
Really?
It's like, that's insane. That's crazy. I think when he was in South Dakota, he had 5 out of his 9 seasons there were undefeated seasons.
Wow.
So it's like he's just a winner. Everywhere he goes, he's won. He's won at Fresno State. He's won at Washington. But I'm gonna take the safe pick, and I'm gonna go with the Michigan Wolverines to get the national championship back in Ann Arbor for the first time in since they invented phones.
Yeah.
It seems like it's been forever.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
But I think they're gonna run the ball really heavy. If there's a weakness to Washington, it's teams that don't throw the ball. I feel like teams that can really run the ball and run it at a high clip are teams that can affect them, and I think that's what Michigan will do. And I think they'll slow down Michael Penix just enough.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll shut him down. I think Penix will still have a great game, but they'll slow him down just enough to get the win.
Yeah, part of me really wants to pick Washington here, man. Like, just because I've been mesmerized on how Michael Penix played all year. Trio of wide receivers, unbelievable. But it's just something about Michigan, especially this year. I feel like they're playing, with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah. There's
been a lot of adversity all year, obviously, with, cheating scandals. And I feel like it's united this team, and it's given them that extra edge, that extra motivation. And I saw it out there against Alabama. They wanted it more than Alabama, it felt like. And so I think that for that reason, and since it's a huge team sport, I think that they're going to go out and they're going to be Washington and, win the national championship. But I do anticipate it to be a great game. I think do you think it'll be high scoring?
I think it will be, I don't know. I think it'll be like in the high 20s, low 30s kind of range.
Gotcha.
Is where I'd see
a little middle-ish. But yeah, that'll be our predictions for the game on Monday. So
you
have to comment.
You think they take away that banner though, if they do win it?
Over the cheating scandal?
For the cheating scandal. If they come back and put something down, do you think they take that banner if they do win it?
If they leave the banner up, then they better give Reggie Bush his Heisman back.
Yeah,
that's
a whole new conversation.
That's a whole episode.
Give him his Heisman back. God damn.
Yeah, seriously. Unreal. I will say one thing about that is because I saw a picture of Caleb Williams in his penthouse yesterday.
Oh man, dude, I saw that shit.
And I was like, this dude is sitting up here chilling in his penthouse, and Reggie Bush can't even get a Heisman.
Yep.
Can't even get his Heisman back. It's unreal. Different day and age. And speaking of Caleb Williams, has he declared yet?
Officially, I don't think he has, but I think everyone expects him to.
Really?
He's got till the 15th or something like that, so he's got time.
What's taking so long? He's scared of going to Chicago. Or do you think Chicago is going to draft Marvin?
There's rumors that they're going to stick with Justin potentially.
Well, the fans want it.
Yeah,
the fans really want it. We saw that at their game when they were chanting that. But we'll keep you updated on the Caleb stuff. But I just don't understand what's taking so long.
Yeah,
I feel like by now you would have made up your mind, and most players seem to make up their mind before the end of the season. So.
I think Drake's declared. Jane Daniels is declared too.
Yeah,
so
it's a pretty stacked quarterback class in my opinion. So
yeah,
especially Michael Penix leaving too.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's kind of switch subjects. Well, we're staying on the Michigan topic, but just real quickly, did everyone see Dave Portnoy bet $1 million for Michigan to beat Alabama?
He's a madman.
He is a madman. First of all, think about how miserable that football game would be. Because I was kind of I read about it and I was like, holy shit, dude, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money.
Yep.
And it's one thing, I've been to the Rose Bowl and I've been rooting for my team, and it was stressful enough not having any money on the game. He's going in there, put $1 million on Michigan, who is his team, and they went out and got it done. But
yeah,
oh my gosh, I'd be sweating bricks all game. It's unreal.
Well, I mean, betting on your team is one thing because it's like you already have emotional ties to the game.
Yeah.
Now you put a monetary value on it. It's like just ups the stakes even more.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine putting $1 million.
$1 million.
Million.
Which I mean, to Dave Portnoy, that's a lot of money. Regardless, Dave Portnoy is very successful.
Yeah.
Barstool has done very well. I believe he sold it back a couple of years ago, and then he rejoined as well.
Yeah.
I don't know the logistics of that, but that's still an insane amount of money. He's putting on Mattress Mac numbers right there.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on to some NIL and some transfer portal talk.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we need some more rules about tampering? What's going on, man? There is. Because I was thinking about, we have struggled to have off-season content in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's going to be an issue anymore because it seems like we're almost going to be even more busy, during the offseason with all these shifts in players when it comes to NIL, who's going where, who's hitting the portal.
Mm.
And so you think they need to kind of, put down some rules to, regulate this, because it seems to be getting a little bit out of hand.
It is out of hand. And I think a lot of people recognize that, at least all the fans do. And it's just this growing kind of conflict of fans' favorite players are hitting the portal, and then they're going to other destinations, and the assumption is they're making more money, because it's like, why would you leave your top 10, top 15 team to go elsewhere?
I got a feeling you're talking about someone very specific.
Quinshawn Judkins leaving Ole Miss is very, very surprising to me.
Especially when the Ole Miss has had so much success acquiring talent in the portal. I mean, they look like a legitimate contender for the SEC next year. I mean,
they got the number one player in the portal, and it's like, I feel like you don't get the number one player in the portal unless you have, some money. Got some money to throw around. So it's like, that's why seeing him leave, I'm like, did Ole Miss not throw him the bag? Like, I don't know how you don't keep a running back like him around. So it makes me feel like, well, it not makes me feel like, it makes me know that there's tampering going on with tampering though. Like, is that even the right word to say nowadays? I don't even know.
I don't even know.
Like, I don't know if that's what it's called, but basically, like, schools are going to other players and they're swooping their top talent, which it's like
before they hit the portal.
I'm okay. And first off, we're okay with players making money.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm totally fine with players making money. I'm not fine with schools, calling the best quarterback of this, smaller, maybe Power 5 team or smaller G5 team and saying, hey, I got a couple million here waiting for you.
And legitimately poaching.
Yeah.
Poaching? Would that be an appropriate word?
Yeah.
Poaching. I mean, I feel like if I was a head coach at a smaller school, I would be extremely frustrated, if they weren't to put some regulation, into place, because it's like, you take a chance on a kid, you get him in your program, you build him up to be a great player, and then he just leaves. And then it's like, you got to do that all over again. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you put, even $100,000 in cash in front of any 19, 20-year-old kid, who's going to say no?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think it's a call on, someone to, put some rules into place, because I mean, you can't blame the kids, and we're definitely not against them making money as well, because I think they have the complete right to be able to, make money off of their name and image and likeness. But there's just got to be some form of regulation, or it's just going to be, paying for wins.
Well, yeah. And people all the time are like, I can't believe they would leave my school to go make more money. And it's like, well, would you leave your job?
Yeah.
To go make an extra $10,000, $20,000? It's like, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
It's like that's the thing that does frustrate me about the whole kind of transfer portal thing is people really are just frustrated at these kids for leaving for, more monetary opportunities.
Exactly.
It's like when you would do the exact same thing.
They really would. I think this is a call on fans to, put, wear the shoes of the athletes.
Yeah.
And kind of put yourself in their place, because I guarantee if you were in that position, you'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think the only way to, kind of regulate this or fix it or, make it manageable is to just put some rules in place. So
yeah. And ultimately, like, as much people don't really want to talk about it, I think it's just better to put in like a pro style model.
Yeah.
And just say, here's your salary cap, I guess, or your NIL cap. You can spend, $10 million a year on players.
Yeah.
And just do it that way. Because as much as people don't want to talk about that, at least like if you're, one of the giants that can spend, I don't even know how many millions of dollars, but just tons of money on players, and you're just the smaller school that, you can only spend $5 or $6 million on players. It at least kind of makes it a little bit more fair for everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Something needs to be done. Rules need to be put in place, but it's really, really, kind of sickening to see a player just hit in the portal and then, a couple hours later commit to the school because, they already knew where they're going because they'd already had these conversations while they're at the same team. Yeah. So,
yeah, I think I did hear, I was reading some stuff on Twitter how there was potential, some conflict between Quinshawn Judkins and, what was going on with the team, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, it could be the money. It could be, he wasn't getting along with Jackson Dart, Coach Kiffin, and, or it could be the money, or it could be both, So
it could be a mix of anything now.
Yeah, it really, like, it's not really our place. Kinda. Yeah. So anyways, you want to cover anything else before we wrap things up? I know we already touched on Florida State and, that kind of playoff controversy.
Yeah. But I do want to talk a little bit more about Florida State real quick. I don't know why Florida State fans, and I don't know if you saw the players after the Rose Bowl, were making like a little victory lap for some reason.
But based off the Alabama loss.
They were all tweeting,
I did see that.
A bunch of tweets from their players. And it's like, I don't understand what they're doing there because you guys just lost by 60. 60. Like, again, I understand a lot of your better
players.
That's
a completely different football team.
Like a lot of your better players didn't play. I get that. But if you wanted to prove that you deserve to be in the playoff, you should have all played. And I get it. Y'all going to the draft. You're going to be high draft picks. Keon Coleman, Jared Verse. You guys are going to be high draft picks. I get that. And I respect players sitting out to protect themselves for the draft. But at the same point, you can't then go and put these tweets out saying all this stuff about the Alabama result when y'all lost by 60 to the team that they beat. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with the tweets.
Yeah.
But I can understand why it almost felt like they were, rebelling against ESPN and they were rebelling against the playoff by not playing in that bowl game.
Yeah.
They're like, screw you guys. We just went 13-0, won a Power 5 conference championship, and you're going to exclude us because our quarterback is hurt.
Yeah. I
would be pissed off. I'd be like, I'm not going to go out there and continue to make you guys millions of dollars, ESPN. True. Like I would be livid.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take on it. Obviously there's tons of different opinions, but I always like to look at it from the athlete's perspective because, I don't know. I feel like not enough people do that. These are young teenage kids, early 20s. And so I just like to view it from their perspective, but that's kind of my take on that.
Yeah. And I was a big advocate too for Florida State to make the playoff because, we talked about how going undefeated, winning your conference championship and not making the playoff is just a really bad look.
That's outrageous.
It really is. But I'm at the same point, I'm not really a fan though of again, doubling down on it. Yeah. Alabama was, 2 yards away from potentially playing for a national championship.
If Bama got blown out.
If Bama got blown out, absolutely. Fire those tweets.
Yeah, get your thumbs going
every single day. But it's like, it is a little weird to me that, you're coming off a game where you just lost by 60 to a team that they beat. If you lose to Georgia by 10, 14, maybe even 21. The line was 21. If you lose by 21, it's a little bit different, but I believe 63 points is a bowl game record.
Oh yeah. Biggest game or point differential.
Yeah.
In bowl game history.
So
and Kirby Smart didn't even know it until after the game. He was like, "Oh man, that's cool. We just broke a record."
So I don't know. It's like Florida State. I like you guys. I feel bad for you. If that was my team, I'd be livid about it. I'd share that anger with you, but after the Rose Bowl, that was not the time.
Yeah. I totally agree. And we need to eventually talk about, I don't think we'll talk about it today, but what's kind of going on with the ACC right now.
Falling
and
apart.
It feels like the ACC is, starting to maybe head in the direction that the Pac-12 did. We saw last offseason. It seems like the ACC is holding those teams hostage, though, with a potential, it's like a $500 million leaving fee or something like that.
Yeah.
So we'll cover that soon during the offseason. And, we'll keep you updated with the NIL transfer portal, all of that fun stuff. And we'll hit you with a recap of the national championship game next week as well. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. And make sure you follow all the socials. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Definitely. Brock's been doing a lot of Twitter stuff. And
100 followers on Twitter.
100 followers on Twitter. That's a big milestone.
Shout out to all you 100 followers. That's awesome.
Exactly. So we love to engage with people on Twitter, especially, smaller channels like us, potentially getting some guests on here as well. So appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in a few days.